watching ECLECTICKA. That's everything sci-fi fantasy. That's right, I am Michael 7 Michael, and we've got Drew, all the way from the West Coast. How you doing, Drew?
Good. We were reflecting on a couple of things before the show, and just trying to get everything sorted in my head.
You sound reflective, sir. You sound like you're in the zone. You sound like there's a lot of remakes coming up.
Yeah, we were just talking about horror films, dude. Like we have, well, first off, there's a movie called Mother that came out this past week. It's kind of an indie flick because I don't remember hearing anything about it until probably like the week before it came out, which is usually an indicator that, hey, that's an indie flick. We were also talking about It, which is killing it at the box office and killing it critically, and as it should, because I saw it and I thought it was freaking amazing. Definitely, like when it comes to Stephen King adaptations, this is for me now number 2, with its ascent only being The Shining before it.
Right.
This is like the second greatest Stephen King adaptation I've ever seen in my life. It was freaking rad. And then we started talking about how they're trying to reboot and revitalize these other films, like what was it, Jeepers Creepers 3? For some reason, apparently, I missed that there wasn't a third one already made. I was under the impression that we already had 3 of those. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, they just kind of both movies bled together, and it's like kind of way after the fact. Because when did 2 come out? Do you remember?
I do remember, and I remember they did a little shift as far as the story and also his appearances. You know, the thing that made the first one so good is because you didn't, it was like this anticipation with him.
I don't know if I call it good. Go ahead.
Okay, well, scared, good, whatever. But, I mean, there was some tension there where, 2, I didn't feel that tension at all. It was just...
Okay, I'm on the complete opposite of that spectrum then, because
Really?
I thought the first one sucked.
Interesting.
I thought it was stupid. And the second one I thought was significantly better. And my reason for this being is the makeup and like the costume of the Jeepers Creepers guy. It wasn't bad in the first one, but it was just kind of meh. And then the idea that the plot was just dumb because you had the 2 siblings who were like, basically they get chased by this thing because they're dicking around being in somebody's house where they had no business being.
Right.
And then it chases them for like an hour and 20 minutes. I'm like, all right, that was a thing. But then the second one kicks in. Mind you, after the first one, I'm just like, that kind of sucked, but I somehow found myself going to the second one the week it came out at the theaters.
Oh, wait, so the whole point was he was going after his eyes, right?
It was good. And then he takes his eyes at the end. Justin Long gets killed, and you realize, oh, he collects parts from other people. The end. And I'm like, oh, that kind of sucked. The second one, though, was better because it was like a football team, and they're on their way to the game, and they're all trapped in the bus.
Right.
And they're in the middle of the road because it's like it's rural area, like the Jeepers Creepers film, because it's like in some nowhere part of America.
Right.
And you had the idea of these high school kids who were trapped on a bus trying to get the hell out of Dodge, and this dude's hunting them. That was actually kind of badass. And then the ending was way better than the first one because you just had the guy standing sentinel over the body of the thing. Because, it comes like like reawakens every X amount of years. Right? So
23
the second
years.
one ends with this guy, the farmer dude, like whatever, standing there with this giant freaking gat that he's like about to just pump the thing full of lead because it's around that time again. That was a badass ending. So now we got 3, and I don't know what to expect. The creature looks a little bit better, but is it going to be more of the first one, or is it going to be more of the second one, which I actually kind of dug?
Right.
So,
and again, I'm just putting up some pictures so people can get an idea. I like the posters. The posters are dope. That's always a good sign that they, when they actually take some time and create something that looks a little interesting.
I haven't seen the posters. I'm just I found the formula for what makes most movie posters nowadays. It's the composite shots, it's the lame Photoshop stuff, and it's like the 3 heads of the characters, and then some lame landscape. But I'll check it out.
Yeah. Well, they've been buzzing about this for a while, and fans have been honing in on the making of the Jeepers Creepers guy. Does he even have a name?
I don't know. I never bothered to look. If he does, I don't know it. Right. But he's recognizable enough.
Right.
He's not like Pennywise now, but if you see him, it's like, oh, that's a Jeepers Creepers guy. All right. Cool. It's when you see specific like film, like horror, like villains, right? You recognize them. You look at Chucky, you know exactly who the hell that is. That's Chucky. You see Leatherface, you know exactly who the hell that is. You see Freddy Krueger. Oh, that's totally Fred. Then you see Jeepers Creepers, and you have to stop and think about it for a moment. Who is that again? What is the leather jacket, the messed up? Oh, that's the Jeepers Creepers guy.
And we are going to get into it, and we'll give our review on that for people that want to know should they see it, past the buzz. And I am a little tired of the commercials as soon as a movie comes out, and the #1 film, and critically acclaimed.
Well, they all have to, yeah. They have to do that. That's like the rush to get people to go. You take whatever accolades the film gets, while it's at whatever spot that it is. If it starts at #1, it might not sit there for very long.
Right.
So they have to put that word out. Yo, there's #1 movie in America. Go check it out now. while they're still in that spot.
I'm waiting for someone to do like a real version of that. The #1 movie on my block, the #1 movie in the hood, the #1
movie, it's
in
like,
Kansas.
We're going to get to a point where it's like in specific states, if a movie is like ranked higher, so it could be a completely ass movie, but it'll be like #1 in Connecticut. This this winner of this whatever local film festival that was aired 4 years ago. It's like, so we'll see.
Now, I think one of the problems from the very beginning with Chucky is that they wanted to get a younger audience, but they still wanted to scare people and get them to jump. And you could definitely see from Chucky 1, 2, and as they kept going, it definitely catered to a younger audience.
I don't know if it catered to a younger audience or a dumber audience, but the Chucky films, bro, no, I'm sorry, it was like Seed of Chucky, and I think the one Bride of Chucky, those were just comedies.
Right.
Those were just really B movie level comedies, and they were not. By that point, they realized Chucky's a silly ass idea, so let's just run with it and see what happens.
Right.
The first two Chucky's were you could make an argument the third one was all right too, even though I thought it was a little bit kind of lackluster compared to the first two.
Right.
First two Chucky movies were scary for what they were, and for the time that they came out, it made sense. Nowadays, I think you'd have a harder time like pitching people the idea of a killer doll when you have, it's just I don't think it would like scare as many people as it used to.
Well, I mean, we did mention Annabelle, and that has its pluses, and it definitely had its minuses. As far as production, the writing and stuff like that. I definitely think the newer one is better than the first one. But yeah, when movies like Get Out really messing with your mind, movies like It, which we'll talk about, can you release a Chucky and not hit it out the park? You can't. Like, it's got to be really good, or that's it.
Yeah, I could see that. It's happened a couple times. We were talking about that too before the show.
Mm-hmm.
Horror films and the trends that they kind of like follow. There's like this pattern where they'll make a franchise, they go until it dries up and dies, then they'll try to revive it years later, and they'll try to like give it this oomph, which is whatever is popular at the time. That's what they tried with Freddy Krueger. They tried to bring it back and make them all like more like tough and all that gritty, whatever stuff that was popular at the time. Didn't work. So Freddy Krueger died. They're gearing up to try to reboot him again. And then you had the Stephen King films, which have been consistently flimsy.
Right.
Like they'll make one or two every now and again. One might be all right, but the other would just completely bomb, and then you wouldn't see anything Stephen King film-wise for a little while, and then they'll try again. It's like you get this backed effort with these revival of these horror films. A lot of times they don't hit. Sometimes they really do. For like every lame Michael Myers movie that we got, circa like, early 2000s, we got that one, The Mist, which is which is an adaptation of a Stephen King novel that Frank Darabont directed. Freaking amazing. One of the best horror films I've ever seen in my life. Freaking rad. And then you had a bunch of crap ones like The Dreamcatcher. Yeah, man. So I think that's what happened this time with It, in that it was just such like a crazy ass like departure, but yet loyal to the source material.
It was a nice ride. It was nice.
That's not easy to do. It's not easy to do as a film at all. So, like, to bring all that back down to what you were saying, if you're gonna make it and it's gonna be like a revival or a reboot or a reimagining or whatever term you're gonna call it, you gotta make sure that it's you at 100%. You gotta ballpark it.
All
And
right.
again,
Well,
it's
without
easy to
further
do.
ado, I mean, we do have other franchises that are coming back that we're going to talk about, but let's jump into it, because I'm sure a lot of people want to know, should I see this movie or not? And that's a big yes.
Yeah.
This is an
pretty
awesome date movie. Whomever or whatever you take on your date, they will hold you, they will squeeze you. At some point, they will jump. Even if they don't get frightened easily, they will jump, and that's definitely a plus if you like that.
Okay, that's Seven's description of it. Do you like good horror? Do you like good horror movies? You do. Go see it. It was awesome. As far as like a film going experience goes, it was one of the better experiences I've had all year. I thought the acting was on point. The story for what it was and the source material that they were utilizing it from, I thought it was brilliant. The things that they changed made it better than some of the experiences in the book. The things that they took out that didn't need to be in the film, they did that. Like oh my God, Bill Skarsgård, the guy that plays Pennywise. I've never seen this dude go so hard in the paint as this movie. He was on this other show called Hemlock Grove. He's an interesting character. If like that's really I'll put it. He's not a good character. He's an interesting character. I didn't think that you had this kind of acting chops, and he came in and just completely became Pennywise, and I was super impressed. The scares that they put in this movie, to round it back to your lame date night thing.
Shots fired.
Make you jump. There are what you could call jump scares, but they are well done. It's not just made to just make you jump for no apparent reason.
Right.
The scares that they craft in this movie are friggin' rad. The poor kid Stanley, you remember Seven, the little Jewish kid with the curly hair?
Right.
That poor kid got it the worst, man. The crooked lady from the picture, man.
Right.
Some really badass scares in this movie. And again, the actors that they got, it's hard to present kids on film in a way where it's like believable. You know, they often just sound like small adults with the way that they're written.
Right.
These kids did not have that problem at all. It was like everything that you liked about the Stranger Things cast in a rated R movie, and it was so good.
Right.
Those kids were so good, man.
Shout out to all the actors in that and the actresses.
Yeah, they all did. They all did their thing, man.
They really did their thing.
Yeah, all of them. And I was kind of bugged. I guess we can go about this if we do a subsequent review of this. You notice the one kid who played Eddie Tozier, is the same kid from Stranger Things. And there's the scene where they're like kind of like wrestling around. Him and Bill, they're getting into a fight, and the kid pushes him. That was kind of like a callback to his other show, Stranger Things, that he's also on. I noticed that. That was actually pretty badass. I like that. So.
Yeah, I really liked it. I really liked it. And you know what? You couldn't help but imagine yourself their age and being in those situations and like, wow, what would I do? And I like that. It really sucked you into like, oh, shoot.
Yeah, totally. And their reactions and the things that they said. Mind you, there were some hilarious moments in this movie. But if you notice, Seven, it was after some scary stuff happened. Did you catch that? It was either while something scary was happening or afterwards where something funny was said or done.
Right.
And the reason, that was actually very clever how they did that. The reason that is if you notice, when you're in a horror movie, right, most times there's a jump scare, something happens, everybody jumps, and then what's the next thing that happens that the crowd does?
They laugh.
They laugh, because that's that nervous, like, you know, that's that adrenaline that you're kind of coming down.
That's true.
You add that with funny bits or comedy, and it just enhances the scene. That's kind of what I loved about this movie. They had a really fine formula of doing that. Something would be said or done that just had you completely cracking up to kind of add that extra bit of, like, you know, that tether.
And the language was appropriate.
Yeah.
For, you know what I mean? I hate when the language is like too extra, where it's like, come on, or not enough. Because hey, at this point, you'd be throwing some words around. Yeah, I thought it was really, really good.
Oh yeah, Richie was good for that, man. Richie's character was to voice what we as the audience were saying at that moment, and it was so good how they did that.
Now I did have a problem, though.
Okay.
When the kids started floating down, I don't want to give it up to people, but when the kids started floating down, what happened to those kids?
Those other kids? Okay. Well, we can't bring that up if you're if it is a spoiler-free thing, kind of screwed. So way to bring up a topic that we can't really broach. No, those kids were. Well, I guess you know enough because you know that kids are disappearing in Derry, Maine. They're dead, bro. Those are like dead bodies, man. They're gonna gradually come down, but those kids have been missing and or have had things done to them, and they're deceased, man. They're pushing them up. They were just floating there the whole time. And I guess, to kind of round what we remember the scene with Georgie and Bill towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was him kind of like they have like the little like emotional moment where he comes to terms with the fact that his little brother's dead.
Right.
I guess their souls are trapped there, and that's essentially what Pennywise has been harvesting from the kids. He eats the kids, but he kind of like keeps their ghosts or their souls and like encompassed in that area and stuck there, so he can just like use them to dick around people. He like has control over them. I think that's what we're going for with that.
Okay.
But yeah, it was dope, man.
Now you know it's gonna be a part 2.
Yeah. The end of the movie lets you know that it part 2 or chapter 2 rather, that is the second half of the book, which shows them. I think it's 20 something or 27 years later. 27
years.
So it's gonna show them Richie, right. Bill, Mike, Bev, Stan, and Eddie. They're all grown up, and then it shows what happens afterwards. Because remember, at the end of the first film, they say, "All right, if he ever comes back, we'll kill him again." Right.
Right.
Notice something interesting, though, in that movie. Again, this is kind of a spoiler. After it's all said and done, right? You notice the part where Stan looks at Bill, and he's just like, I hate you.
Uh-huh.
You catch that part? Okay. That is actually, I think, will be pretty important in the second half. Because you have that moment between them, and you think he's just joking around. They all laugh about it and stuff like that. But in the book, that's some real stuff. Because Stan, like I said, poor Stan, he got it the worst out of all of them. And he was feeling like, not even just tight in the chest, but he was super messed up by that. He was hella traumatized by what happened when they were kids. To the point when he kind of like blames Bill, like a lot of what happened on Bill. So that's why when you have that moment where he looks at him and is like, I hate you. He really means that. He really does hate Bill. But he played it
What do you
down.
think of the stuttering? You thought it was necessary?
Which one? Oh, no, that's part of Bill's character.
Okay.
And that's part of his, they even have the part where he gets pissed and he's giving his little speech.
Right.
And then Richie is like, you notice he stutter once? That's, part of his thing. That's in the book too.
Okay.
But
that was good. You guys got to see that. You definitely got to see that. So it's justly getting the accolades that it is. Totally. Great movie. All right, folks, so we're going to transition into Flatliners. That's right, that old flick that everybody talked about. You got to see it. It's a classic. Well, guess what? They're bringing it back again, ladies and gentlemen. A bunch of doctors playing with death.
My description of that movie is, I'll bring it back a second time, Seven. It's like, hey, we're studying to become doctors. Let's play a game, guys. Let's see how long we can go by shutting our brain activity down and expect nothing to go wrong. Like, come on, people. I've heard, I'm not like a science, well, I'm not that versed with like, how the human body works. I know parts. But I do know that when you shut the brain down for prolonged periods of time and deny it of oxygen, that's typically not a good thing. So, I don't know. But it looks interesting. I will go check it out, though. All that, I'm just being me. But I will go see it. It looks pretty interesting.
I mean, the cast looks like they had a lot of fun. Here's a random pick of them messing around. Ellen Page, Diego Luna, Nina Dobrev, James Norton, and Kiersey Clemens.
Is Kiersey Clemens? She's about to be in the Flash movie, right? That's her?
Really?
Little pretty light-skinned chick.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, yeah. She's gonna be in the Flash. She's gonna be Iris West. And of course, bagels only come in colors light and white.
Wait. And, isn't she gonna be in Isn't she in Thor too?
No, dude, that's Tessa Thompson. That's the other pretty light skinned girl. That's Tessa Thompson. You should know all this, man. This is your domain.
Oh shit.
You know
what I'm saying? This is what I have to deal with, folks. This abuse. It's abuse, I tell you.
They switched it all up, dude. They made like all the main chicks of superheroes like pretty light skinned girls now. You got Kiersey Clemens is about to be Iris West, or eventually Iris West because she marries him later. You also have MJ and the other girl who ended up being Toomes' daughter and stuff in Spider-Man. It's just like there's this big, and now there's the issue of Anna Diop. She's going to be Starfire in the Teen Titans show.
She's gonna be
And,
orange. We spoke about that the last show.
Yeah. And then she in the comics, I guess if you follow them, she typically will end up doing stuff with Nightwing.
Right.
So yeah, all the lead ladies are just like light skinned pretty girls now.
So, but I mean, we're all the Dark Sisters on this with afros. They can't get no love. They can't get no Nightwing.
But
they can't get a little wing.
Beg your pardon?
They can't get a little wing.
No, because that's part of that whole. Actually, you should probably ask. You should ask your girl Cece about that with the colorism thing. Because she'll. No, I say that not thinking like I'm not saying anything slick.
Right.
But because she has a vested interest in how Black nerd culture and how it's portrayed and stuff like that. There's been some talk about that. It's like, there's varying degrees of beauty when it comes to people of color. So why is it only one type that's being portrayed in these films and these television shows? Which raises a good point. It's true. The idea is that the leading lady always used to be a pretty, white girl. Now it's a pretty lesbian girl. It's okay if they're of color as long as they have X amount of European features and they're light enough to be considered, beautiful.
And as long as they fall in love with the Caucasian male.
The Caucasian male, exactly. So that's how that one goes.
But I mean, that's with almost all the movies now. I mean, not even just the quote unquote geek culture films. I mean, look at the top movies that have a love interest that has a female that looks like you just described, and they're always with a male that I just described. So it's
exactly because that's what classifies as aesthetically pleasing. That's beauty. That's love, if you believe in
right.
So that's how they portray it. Plus, people go watch them. So it's just
right.
art.
Well, I also go with the whole theory, that Mr. Malcolm said about give a bunch of people a glass of water that's full of dirt. They'll drink it because that's all that's there. If you give them a choice, they'll pick the clean water. You know what I'm saying?
And not to say that the girls that are being picked for these roles are, dirt or whatever the analogy was, but it's just the idea that there's roles that open. And
there's a theme going on.
Yeah, there's a theme of it, and that's not the fault of the actresses at all.
No, not at all.
They're just they're taking a role. They're doing their thing. They're trying to put themselves out there. So it just kind of raises the issue now of, okay, we have the concept of variety. Now you have to just break past this I guess, veneer, this idea that beauty can only be portrayed as one thing. Right. Because there's plenty of great-looking actors.
Where's my Pakistani heroines? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. Why not? Because variety. If you're gonna have a Latin, pick someone that looks like the freaking character, preferably from that area.
Right.
So it's just this stupid cultural box that we placed ourselves in that we really have to get over. It's like,
studio heads, get it together. You're playing. I get it. You're playing the dozens on this one. I don't even know if that.
They're just. I mean, even those guys, they're just playing it to what people gravitate to, and for whatever reason, cultural or otherwise, people only gravitate towards one type, and that's the type that they typically try to market. Right. So, get over that, people. Before we go, are we gonna see a remake of Friday the 13th? Is that going to happen? Because if you got Chucky, you got Jeepers Creepers. If we got it, I mean, it's just a matter of time before there's a Friday the 13th and there's a Nightmare on Elm Street. I can't see it not happening. Those are actually a few of the franchises that have never really gone away. If you notice, it'll take it maybe a couple Halloweens, but we'll always get either a Halloween or a Freddy Krueger or a, what was the other one? Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We'll always get those because they're just movies that they can be garbage, but people will just keep going back because of what they are.
Oh, wait a minute. We forgot one, bruh.
Which one?
One that I need to see now from the beginning because I'm ashamed to say it, but Candyman.
They haven't messed with Candyman in a long time, and
and if they do now, all of a sudden, I want credit. I'm just saying.
Actually, yeah. We should keep an eye on that because you mentioned it. There hasn't been a Candyman movie in a long ass time.
So
Same thing with Hellraiser. They made like 18 of those friggin' things, and then it's just like, all right, they let it die.
right.
But I heard that they're trying to make a reboot of that as well. So we'll keep an eye on the Candyman.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned
So,
that one's due.
I mean,
Oh,
what?
next episode I have to go in on Death Note.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Oh, I just saw it.
yeah. That's it. That's
That's
all.
it?
Just let's end this episode so we can get to the next one so I can blow up on that. Thank you.
Oh
saving everything.
man, I know you're gonna go in on that one. I had someone. I went to a con and we were talking, and they weren't too pleased.
I'm saving it for part 2. So if you guys are
Okay.
interested, those of you who roll with us, Sonic Eclectic, you roll with our machine. Part 2 is gonna be me blowing the F up on this 90-minute turd barbecue that was the Netflix Death Note film.
I mean, do they just?
I'm saving it.
Okay, you're saving
Check
it.
this out.
All right. So, is there anything else on it, or any of the things that we Flatliners? We're pretty good
I'm
here.
interested, and let's keep it going. Keep it pushing.
All right. Well, definitely check us out on social media, Sev Network, and also what are we on? IG is Sev Network, Facebook
Yes.
Sev Network, SevNetwork.com, and you will watch Eclectica. And we'll see you next time. So Drew, thank you very much, representing on the West Coast.
I guess I could plug this too. I'm also on IG at ota_Drew. Check me out or don't. Either's cool by me. And I've been told to give myself that buzz now.
Yes. Awesome. And I'm on IG, Michael7Michael, and hit us up. And give us a second, and we'll be right back. Thank you very much for watching Eclectica.
You have like the music on, please.
Mm-hmm.